Hey everybody, this is Jess Canotes with Our Bipolar, and I'm so excited. My very first vlog guest is my husband, Bryan.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
So this is Bryan Curtis, my wonderful husband, and we're here today for a very important vlog, I should say. I realized that we have a lot of similarities between he has a physical illness that is having symptoms right now, and I have a mental illness which is also having symptoms right now. So I wanted to show the parallels between how we act when we are having symptoms for his physical illness, my mental illness, and hopefully break down some of the stigma attached to mental illness by doing that. So first, I was going to ask Bryan to just talk about your illness and what it is.
All right, so basically what I've got, easy way to say it is spinal cord tumor. It's actually called an intramedullary epidermoid tumor. I'm like the lucky recipient. These are less than 1% of all spinal-related tumors, and I've got it. Anyhow, they are benign, thankfully. It's something they call them primary, which means I was born with it. So, they can't remove it. There have been surgeries, but they can't remove it because of where it is and how intra means it's within, so it's within the spinal cord itself. So,
So what happens, like right now, when you're feeling symptoms, what kind of symptoms do you have?
Symptoms, typically like a lower back pain. For me, it stays to the left, just happens to be. I get sciatica from it. There's pain that goes down my whole left leg, and that ends in the bottom of my foot, right in the middle, kind of Charlie horse sort of feeling there. And it just, that kind of progresses, and it can move into muscle spasms and stuff in the leg, and involuntary muscle flexing and stuff like that.
And numbness?
Yeah, a lot of numbness. Some of my numbness is permanent from previous surgeries and stuff. But yeah, there's been a lot of nerve damage. I'm fortunate in that it's not cancerous or anything, but there's definitely...
It's a problem.
Yeah.
It causes a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And so obviously about every 5 months.
That's what it's been. It used to be a year. Now it's about every 5 months.
He goes to have a procedure on the tumor. It's like a spinal tap.
That's the easiest way to explain it to people. It's a percutaneous drainage, like an aspiration. And
like an aspiration, and he's having that done next week. So he's obviously feeling the symptoms right now. And actually, right now, for my mental illness, bipolar, I'm feeling some symptoms. I have some slight hypomania. If you follow the blog, you know that in late November, I started having some depression, and my sleep was affected. I wasn't sleeping very well. And because of that, I sort of, the natural progression is to go into mania. Luckily, it hasn't been too bad. But it, just like Bryan's, it disrupts my life. It disrupts our family life somewhat. We try not to let that happen, of course. And if you want more information about bipolar, you can go on the ourbipolar.com site and click on About Bipolar. So now we're going to talk a little bit about, so we talked about your symptoms, but how do you actually act when you're having these symptoms?
Can I just say like a baby? As it progresses, it gets worse. But typically, the way I'll behave or act while I've got it, there's a crankiness to it because of the constant pain, because it doesn't stop. So pretty irritable, which means I try and get away as much as I can. I'll try and be alone, because of course you don't want to be irritable around people you love. I lay down a lot when I have this. It doesn't make it better, but it's something that helps it to not get worse. So getting lots of rest.
And sleep?
And sleep, yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of comes with it. I'm an easy sleeper, so... but yeah. So yeah, there's an irritability, like I said. from the constant pain, and then a lot of rest. I've got to be cautious about what I do. Too much exertion can make things worse, as well as stress. I try and reduce stress, and that again is why I try and keep myself isolated to a degree, because
as much as possible.
I'm a dad and I'm a husband. I can't.
Of course.
So.
Well, and what's, you'll see the parallels right here, how I act and behave when I am not feeling well with my mental illness is pretty much the exact same way. I am extremely irritable because I don't get euphoric mania anymore. I did when I was first diagnosed, but now it is just dysphoric. So it's more like a mixed state, like with mania and depression at the same time. So I'm irrationally, I call it irrationally irritable, because I know, and I'm just trying to hold it in.
That's a good way to describe it.
I mean, I really just try to hold it inside because I know it is unfair and it is not right to subject my loved ones to it, but it's hard. I mean, it's really hard. I also need a lot of rest. I need extra sleep, just like Bryan does. I need to be alone if I can. I mean, if I can't, it's okay, but if I can be alone, it will sort of prevent things from progressing, or maybe help me to get better sooner. So they're very similar.
Yeah, one other thing really quick, though, is something we both need and both do for each other's support when this time comes. I mean, even before our daughter, we were still really needed each other's support for this.
Oh, we're definitely, and it's funny because right now, sometimes this happens where we're both having symptoms at the same time, and that's really hard because otherwise I would just, take Pearson 24/7 and try to let him rest, or vice versa, and we just can't do that right now. We kind of know our limitations, but we do as much as we can.
Yeah, so she's on a lot of baby bus on the iPad
Yeah, she's on the iPad right now, and we just try to let that happen and not worry about it too much. Because we know for us to be the best parents, we have to get better.
Yeah.
And for Bryan to get better, he has to have a procedure. But for me to get better, it's just a matter of time. And I don't know. It will take weeks before it gets better. Which, trust me, I enjoy that the least of anyone in my household.
Yeah.
And it is really hard. But, we help each other as much as possible, and there are so many similarities. At least, we're only two people. We only have his physical illness, my mental illness. Obviously, other people's illnesses, they'll behave differently. But I think it's really interesting and powerful that a mental illness is pretty much, I'm behaving the same way he is. So, I mean, I can be out in public, I can be doing whatever. You probably would have no idea I'm feeling any kind of mania, or if I was acting irritably, it could be the same for someone with a physical illness. So I think that's really important to note and to keep in mind. Well, that's kind of all we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I want to thank my husband. I was so excited when he agreed to do this.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
And he was my very first vlog guest. So I'm just really happy it was him. So thank you guys. Again, this is Jess Knotes with Our Bipolar. And I'm so happy to see you. All right. We'll see you again soon. Bye.